So what an interesting and, well, controversial story I have for you guys today, but then again, would you expect anything else from this channel? No, this story is making headlines everywhere in England right now, and it involves a Muslim student who just lost her legal battle against a prayer ban at the Michaela community school in Brent, North London. Now, when you hear it like that, you're going to be like, wait, whoa, hold on a second. But there's a lot more than meets the eye with this story, and it's pretty insane. Now, this school is one of the strictest schools I've heard about in quite some time. It has rules like no conversations in corridors, and people aren't allowed to be in groups of more than 4 anywhere on site. So it sounds like a school you might see in a film or something like that, but it is ranked outstanding by Ofsted and it gets amazing results. How many schools can say that? I don't think many in this country right now. However, it is also strict on things like religion, all religions in fact, and crucially, parents would have known about this before they enrolled their kids to this school. You know, they would have known how strict this school is. So we have this Muslim student who suddenly decided to have an issue with this school and how it operated and claimed it breached her right to religious freedom, and well, it ended up going down the legal route. Now, before it could even reach that point, controversy was brewing to a whole nother level, and people outside of the school decided to intimidate the teachers, the head teacher, to amend their rules, and that is an understatement. Here is the head teacher, Katharine giving her experience in an interview with GB News back in January. Take a watch.
Parents sent their children to that school knowing that there was no official prayer room. Then one pupil decided to kick up a stink, saying that their right to religious freedom was being offended, and it ended up in the High Court. But it wasn't just that pupil, okay? An organised militia of hardliners from outside the school tried to intimidate the school into bending to their religious wishes. Now, earlier this year, I went to the Michaela Academy and I spoke to head teacher Katharine birbalsingh.
All kinds of death threats, and we had a bomb scare. The police had to come and search the school for bombs. We had all kinds of, one of my black teachers was so badly racially abused. One of my staff had a attempted break-in at her flat. One of my staff had a brick through her window. We had bottles thrown into the yard. And all because of the prayer situation. And so it was horrible. And my staff were terrified.
Integration is not about coming to a country and trying to change that country's way of life or making a country pander to your own religious norms.
Us should give thought to how multiculturalism can work. What I find is that the left say, well, multiculturalism, everybody's free, do whatever you want, isn't it great? The right say, multiculturalism's failed, there's nothing we can do about it. I think that we all need to actively try and encourage multiculturalism and encourage children to be friends across racial and religious divides. When people are critical of this and say, well, what about the children who don't want to pray? What about the children who don't want to fast? What about the families who are happy with this? Now, they might say, no, but everybody should be able to do whatever they want. But that isn't the case at our school, right? Our school, we behave very much as a collective. We do not separate children according to race and religion. That was the other thing that was interesting, is that once prayer stopped, everything returned to normal.
Yeah, so absolutely disgraceful those teachers went through all of that just because people within the community didn't like how strict the school was. Nobody else made a fuss. And again, before parents enroll their kids to this school, they're gonna know how strict it is, and they shouldn't be bending their rules because of intimidation and threats of violence. This head teacher created an equal field, no rule for one rule for somebody else. The fact this student and lawyers went out of their way to take this to court is just insane to me, and it just seems like a big waste of money, which makes me think as well, who funded this? That would be interesting to find out, right? But you're also going to see people complaining about this on social media, label it some sort of buzzword, as they always do, but they won't talk about the intimidation and threats of violence these teachers went through. Conveniently, It's always the case. But let's get into more detail surrounding this whole story. The Daily Mail report, prayer ban at Britain's strictest school is lawful, High Court judge rules. Head teacher Katharine birbalsingh hails judgment as a victory for all schools after Muslim pupil lost legal challenge over claims the policy was discriminatory. Like everything we see today. The head teacher at a school once dubbed Britain's strictest has hailed a court ruling after a Muslim student lost a challenge against this ban on prayer rituals. Katharine birbalsingh, founder and leader of Michaela Community School in Brent, North London, said the High Court judge's decision was a victory for all schools. She added schools should not be forced by one child and her mother to change its approach simply because they've decided they don't like something at the school. And again, I'll repeat, they knew the nature of the school. They knew how strict it was, yet they still attended. It's like me eating unhealthy foods, right? And then getting unhealthy. I can't then claim to be a victim. And if it was such a big issue, if it was so bad, why not just go to another school? The former government social mobility TSAR spoke out after the student, who cannot be named, took legal action against the high-achieving school, claiming the policy was discriminatory and uniquely affected her faith due to its ritualized nature. The pupil claimed the school's stance on prayer, one of the 5 pillars of Islam, unlawfully breached her right to religious freedom and was the kind of discrimination which makes religious minorities feel alienated from society. But the school argued its prayer policy was justified after it faced death and bomb threats linked to religious observance on site. The ban was introduced in March last year after 30 students began to pray in the school's yard using blazers to kneel on, with the rules imposed due to concerns about a culture shift towards segregation between religious groups and intimidation within the group of Muslim pupils, the court was told. That shouldn't be going on in schools. There shouldn't be segregation because of religion and then people intimidating others within the school. That's not how it works. In a written ruling issued at the High Court in London this morning, Mr. Justice Linden dismissed the pupil's arguments against the prayer rituals ban, but the judge upheld the student's challenge to a decision to temporarily exclude her from the school. The pupil said they were obviously very disappointed, having tried my best in this case. The pupil's mother said she was profoundly dismayed by the case's outcome. You mean you're upset the school and the staff didn't bend the rules to operate how you want them to operate? Boy, the judge said there was a rational connection between the aim of promoting the team ethos of the school, inclusivity, social cohesion, etc., and the prayer ritual policy. He added that disadvantage to Muslim pupils at the school caused by the prayer ritual is, in my view, outweighed by the aims which it seeks to promote in the interests of the school community as a whole, including Muslim pupils. Look, if this was so outrageous, the judge would rule against it. We know how woke judges are today. So the fact that this judge isn't ruling in their favor, to me, says a lot. And this is where it gets very interesting, because in an 83-page judgment dismissing the student's case, Mr. Justice Linden wrote, "It seems to me that this is a case where the claimant at the very least impliedly accepted when she enrolled at the school that she would be subject to restrictions on her ability to manifest her religion. She knew that the school was secular, and her own evidence is that her and her mother wished her to go there because it was known to be strict. She herself says, long before the prayer ritual policy was even introduced, she and her friends believed that prayer was not permitted at school, and she therefore made up for missed prayers when she got home." That's insane. And that's another part these people who are complaining about it on social media won't mention. Everybody must be painted as a victim, even if they knew what they were signing up for. Mr. Justice Linden continued in his ruling, "The essential nature of the school regime is one which the claimant and her fellow pupils, or at least their parents, have chosen, and indeed they have chosen to remain at the school notwithstanding the prayer ritual policy, PRP. Although the claimant says that she is aware of resentment of the PRP amongst some Muslim pupils, there is no evidence that this has affected enrollment or led to any of them choosing to leave, nor indeed is there evidence of the issue being raised with the school since the PRP was introduced, other than in context of this claim. On the contrary, the evidence is that since the PRP was introduced, good relations within the school community have been restored." The court was told the pupil, referred to only as TTT, was making a modest request to be allowed to pray for around 5 minutes at lunchtime on dates when faith rules required it, but not during lessons. The student also challenged allegedly unfair decisions to temporarily suspend her from school. The school's lawyers claimed its prayer policy was justified and proportionate after it faced death and bomb threats linked to religious observance on site. I mean, hello man. Welcome to our lovely society, right? I imagine this student must have been kicking quite the fuss for them to actually get suspended. I'm sure, it was very tense within that school when all this was going down. I think it's great this head teacher and the school won the case. When you think about all the intimidation they went through because of what was going down at the school, that shouldn't be happening in this country. It really looked like people were trying to get their way and perhaps use these, concerning tactics to intimidate the teachers into changing their mind. Oh, if we don't change these things here, things are going to get worse. And people can, disagree with how this school works. They could say it's too extreme, but as I've said, everybody knew how strict it was. There's no ifs, there's no buts. That's the bottom line. But leave your thoughts down below, ladies and gentlemen, on this story. I'd like to hear them all. Do you think the school is too strict? What do you think about this going to court? I'd like to know. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like rating. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video, comment on this video, share this video. But until next time, it has been your boy JD. Have a great day, stay safe, and I'm out. Peace.